Hey, what's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Nice.
I can hear you
Checking
perfect.
in.
I can hear. Can you hear me better?
Lovely.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. Man,
How's things going?
oh man, it's great. Um, we're seeing all kinds of developments with WChain, with the farm system and the DEX and the swapping feature, and it's exciting times. I mean, of course, the price is down, so the sentiment's down, but that's one thing we wanted to talk about today. Was like, it seems like it's on purpose, doesn't it? To you, like they want to keep this suppressed before it really takes off. Given the products that and the everything, like all the problems that WChain will solve.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, look, since we last spoke, the farm's out, the DEX is working. This thing is very slick, very smooth, and it's kind of surprising. The price is down and stagnant and stationary and just like not really doing anything. And we'll unpack it, but yeah, I believe that, man. I believe that there is a suppression there. They kind of have to. There's NDAs involved. There's a whole manner of things, and we'll unpack it. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to see what we're gonna uncover in this chat. We're gonna expose some truths that just welcome anyone wants to listen. But I'm just excited what we're gonna get into, and man, I just wanted to talk about real quick.
Yeah,
we were talking earlier about the ETHgate connection.
yeah.
How I'm big into kind of conspiracies, and Joseph Lubin, Bill Hinman.
Yeah,
I think that's his name, Bill Hinman. Yeah. So Hinman was the guy that he works at Andreessen Horowitz, and he was the guy that said Bitcoin and Ethereum are commodities, and that was when it was $10,000. Now it's it's done at 10x. So all these guys it's a small little community of people that have a lot of power and with like making these things go up, and we have that ETHgate connection with the WildGo people.
Yes,
with the original. And then I think you mentioned to me a while back about Joseph Lubin, and he's been into XRP, like early XRP guy, also with Ethereum and everything. So the rabbit holes go deep with this, man. It's the connections are all there. The connections with Algorand, XDC, even BNB, Solana. I know you know more about all that than I do. Like you can delve into more of those connections. But I just find it all fascinating how they claim to be a revolutionary chain and connect, be able to do the swap feature on chain using AI. And what's crazy is the DEX shows you the routing for the swap when you do the swap on the DEX, and it's super cheap, it's fast.
Yep.
But
I think that's a great introduction, Lee. I think you really set the scene
man, I'm
there.
just enjoying talking, man.
But I think one thing we should, to kick things off is that this will be your 33rd video on YouTube, and I think that's quite an interesting moment.
Yeah, perfect. This is number 33, man, and I think you and I have talked, saying our body, minds, and souls are connected to WChain in some way.
Yeah.
And so there's an energy there that draws the community together. There's an energy in crypto in general. And, that's I've met a lot of my best friends. I mean, you're included with that, with crypto in general, because we are awake to what's coming, and a lot of people are distracted, by the TV, by this war narrative, the fear narrative, because they release fear to make people people passed the Patriot Act 2001 because people were fearful with with the 9/11 attacks, and that was what Edward Snowden got. He is the whistleblower for that. Oh, they're spying on you guys. So you probably don't want me talking, but I'll talk for an hour about.
No, I mean, I just wanted to say that it's the 33rd. That's kind of where we got together. It was 33rd. It's an interesting time for WCO.
Yeah.
As you mentioned at the beginning, and there is more to WCO than a crypto, a social kind of economic impactful token. There is that psychophysical impact of WCO, and I don't think anyone's talking about it apart from us. But I think soon the world will realize there is one there, and people like me and you, we've been drawn to it, for different reasons, right? We're different people, we have different reasons why we're here.
Yeah.
And it won't be long until more people will join, and they're going to talk about WCO, and they're going to talk about its impact, and there's going to be a whole thing with WCO and WChain, right? It's going to be like, movement's not the right word, but like just like BNB was, just like ETH was, right? Just like Chainlink is, and as they are, right? So there'll be something similar coming with WChain and WCO.
And exactly. And you said it's the 33rd video. What's up, XRP ACOR? So yeah, it's just the the number. That number means a lot to me. It's you can actually go on YouTube and type in the power of 33, and it's the master number of the universe. But there's lots of 33s and different renditions of it. Like even the new coin called M17.
Yes,
it's the meme coin. Like, why is it 17? That's an 8. 17 is an 8, which is a 33. And if you go to the chain ID on WCO when you create your coin, it's 171717.
Yes.
So there's all kinds of symbolism here.
So much has happened since we last spoke about this token.
Yeah.
Like, it's turned into an ecosystem already. People can farm WCO. They can accumulate. They can stake. They can farm. It's become something already where people are mining.
Yeah, and it's in the infancy stages of it. They're only
correct.
I've never actually been able to swap for Ethereum like that from just to another chain. You can go from BNB to Ethereum like in one step.
Yeah,
no fees.
So we need to see that in action too, right? This is the kind of the claim, and this is what they're saying. And personally, I believe that, but we also need to have proof in the pudding, which I believe will come. Yeah,
and I think he said something like some other coins are coming on the DEX too, and I just saw there was some news that came out that they were having trouble doing swaps. I think it was a MasterCard thing you sent me earlier. You might you could get into that. It was kind of interesting. It's like it basically, yeah. It was some kind of article he texted me about how they need WChain. It's not working because they're not KYC compliant currently, so they need WChain to step in and use the KYC products, right?
And the fact that it's a public blockchain dedicated to payments. So like,
that's
the really boring stuff like reconciliation, settlement, the back end stuff, which isn't sexy, right? But it's needed, and it's very clear to me where I'm sitting as a Wadzchain WCO holder for the last 2 and a bit years, whatever it is, that the market needs WChain. It needs it, and so just as DeFi needed oracles from Chainlink, and it became a cornerstone of it, so too the payments landscape will integrate WChain globally. This is a global ambition here, right? So it's
that's why they have offices around the world still.
Correct.
Like that's what they want to work with the local governments.
And personally, I think that kind of WChain is a proxy to UAE as a country. And again, we can kind of go into that, but there's more to kind of this project that meets the eye, certainly.
Yeah, exactly. And that was in the roadmap years ago, and they've kept all the same employees in all these different offices around the world: Dubai, Singapore. I think. I mean, I know that Bitcher has an office in the U.S., but you told me something. They have a U.S. connection to New York or something.
Yeah, I mean, look, Wadzchain were in New York when the Nasdaq news hit. That's just one example. There's Bosonic Network, clearing and settlement, use them for Wadzchain 2.0. There's another New York connection. There's numerous New York connections with Wadzchain. Numerous.
Exactly. And I can't recall off the top of my head, but they're probably like in 6 or 8 different countries around the world. I can't remember the Wadzchain offices.
I mean, personally, that's what we know publicly, but I think more.
Yeah.
I really do. I think there's a lot more activity that meets the eye, because a lot of these deals will kind of happen at, even at the IMF, UN level, which cover regions. It's not just like one country. They're covering like, as Anish said in that famous Congo video that got taken down, it's like entire regions of.
That makes me laugh. That was out for a few hours. You can get into that, man. That was crazy.
Yeah. So
what did he say? Is like, it's bullish stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
And going a bit into like why this is being suppressed, right? And because we're seeing all this bullish news, but the price, community's flat down. Like, what's going on? Even though people can farm, I'm really bullish because I can get this WCO, farm it, whatever, right? But why is this suppressed? It's like, what's going on? But it's very similar to early days of Chainlink. You know, there's things going on. We look at NDA commitments, right? There's probably last minute testing to do, right? There's a process for payment infrastructure. This stuff can take years, right? So you have a time plan, right? If launch is whatever date they have, they're still building up to it in a few months, and they can't just release it straight away. There's a process they have to follow because it's been written years ago, and they're just following this plan to implement this kind of game-changing payment infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a total conspiracy theorist, man. I think this is planned. Even the shakeout was planned. Because what CEO has their their Bored Ape tied to the wallet that apparently they're dumping on? And then now they came out and said that it's a Chinese hacker. That's on the website. They have the hack report out on the website. So it's no correlation, but it's hilarious.
The biggest footer of Wchain is gone since the vesting schedules came out. What's that about?
Oh, yeah, exactly. We'll call him out, Gecko, right?
Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
How you doing?
What's up, man? He's I think it's all the same team. It's like my friend said about politics, man. Like, we're not all these excuse me, but all these presidents of all these countries, they all know each other. They're all. It's a globalized economy now, and the war. I believe they don't need war to boost economies like they used to. I don't want to delve in. I don't want to get off subject too much, but basically, it's the same thing with these crypto companies. All these CEOs know each other, and they're all here to make big bucks together.
Legally, they have to, because, like, if you take the Chainlink MasterCard example, how many players are involved in that process? It's less than the modern payment infrastructure, but there still have to be a few players playing different parts. MasterCard, Chainlink, XSwap, what I think is then going to be like Wchain. You've got Hashgraph. They're all playing their role, so they have to know each other and work together and make it harmonious and seamless for the consumer. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think that's why he changed the tokenomics a few times too, because it would make no sense otherwise. It's like, hey, this thing could be bigger than we expect. He probably met these guys. Like, hey, we need a guy to fulfill this. We need you to build this chain like this, and we're gonna put you through the humiliation ritual. The community's gonna leave, but we're still here at the same time.
Yeah,
because we have because even love and hate are both an energy. It's just you're connected to this coin, so the community's still together in a weird way.
Yeah, it's a very unique.
They can pull it back together. Journey. They're watching this coin. It's like nobody really left.
Yeah,
everybody's still on everybody's radar.
Yes.
So that's when, after this thing, which I believe is going to do an SHX kind of pump like we saw this year, or no, 2024 to 2025, where it went from 4 zeros and a 3 to 2 cents. I think.
Wow.
I was telling you earlier, a full fib extension on this coin. I use Fibonacci a lot in my charting, and it's about 3.5 cents a full fib extension, and sometimes it can go past that. So
interesting.
That's the target for me. When the sentiment starts coming back, and I mean, maybe higher when they bring Solana on chain, Tron on chain. It's going to be mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah. You're right. Like, what were you talking about before? How kind of the community, is still sticking around. It left. There's had to be this whole thing with Wadzchain, probably because when they first released the tokens, it's still an experiment. We're not sure. We've got some connections, but then the Atlitica engine from Wadzchain was like too powerful, right? And it's like, wow, this thing can impact on a global scale, and so they've had to pivot and change. And look, that's why it says, only invest what you're willing to lose, right, or what you can lose, kind of thing, in the disclosures, because this is an experiment still, but it's payment infrastructure. So, the last few years probably really accelerated for them, right? But there's had to be this whole journey with it, and how it's played out is probably how it was planned to be, and but I think we're nearly at the end now until the sentiment really changes and this thing becomes what it's supposed to do. Look how quick it is, slick, cheap. It's very, very efficient.
Exactly, and like I have a lot of experience playing with dexes. I've played with the Pangolin deck. I played with like 3 different dexes on different coins. And usually, I think they're going to release an app soon. I'm pretty sure that's on the, eventually going to happen for WChain. Are we still connected? I heard a noise there.
I'm here. Still here.
Yeah, man. So I just feel like when they release the app, kind of like the Solo Dex app, or that's when it's really gonna start taking off.
Yeah,
but it could also just be the website too, or if they upgrade the website a little more.
It's still not. It's still not the end state, but far from it.
Yeah.
Right? And as we've discussed, right, this is still being a hidden thing. Maybe this is like a thank you to the existing holders, because current all holders of WTK have held through. You can be a liquidity provider, and you can actually make decent WCO here. Like, so if you've fought through it and gone through the journey, you've actually been rewarded now, right? And I think it's probably not as appreciated yet in the community because the price is still low. It's still price, it's few marginal percent a day. It's something, but it's still not like wowzy yet, right? But I think very quickly, once the price moves and the rewards become, very significant in dollar terms, you're going to get more people coming and looking at what's this thing, and probably timed with, the Winity card and other initiatives, other partnerships, because if this thing is really orchestrated, then it would make sense they orchestrate the pump. So they get all the news.
I want to stop you there about the Winity cards. I remember seeing an article. It was Wadzchain Hong Kong. That was the name of it. And then they changed the name to Winity.
Yes.
Or something like that. It was an article that got scrubbed off the internet. It was out for a while.
I don't know if it was an article.
We know that's Wadzchain.
It's on the public record in Hong Kong. You can find that stuff.
Yeah, it's public record. Yeah.
Yeah. So they in Hong Kong at the they're at the forefront of stablecoin legislation at the minute. They were literally
explain Winity cards to some of our listeners here. Like, what is that?
As I understand it, it's like a prepaid card, and then you can select what you want to pay with. So as long as it has a value, you can pick that thing to pay with. If it's Bitcoin, if it's USDC, if it's in the end state, right, it'll be like all the main currencies. So I believe like Dogecoin will be on there, right? SHIB, right? So you can pick what you want to pay with, but you end up paying in fiat.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that seamless conversion from Dogecoin to fiat, because the common merchants still want fiat. They don't want stable coins yet. It's not mainstream, but Wadzchain bridging that gap to say, look, from meme coin to fiat.
Yeah.
So
Crypto.com's had their cards for a while, but I think it's only in the US. It's not. So this is pretty much global, because they have to. That's why they're enterprise grade. The WChain, so it could be compliant with the governments and everything, so to pay with things with the crypto.
Look on the website. It's like 100 million merchants. It's a global thing. You can withdraw cash. Imagine, you're in.
Yeah.
I'm in the Congo, but there's a Visa merchant. I can get cash. I've only got Dogecoin because I've been receiving Dogecoin from people in the Congo. They only give me Dogecoin. They don't want to give me anything else. So at least I can go to the Visa merchant and withdraw fiat. And I can, take those, I don't know what they use there, like whatever, and then go and spend that and use that because I need to live and etc. So this is a very powerful thing that's coming.
Yeah, not only that, but the WChain stablecoin is also coming.
Oof, yeah.
I haven't heard much developments about that, but that was a few months ago. They were talking about the stablecoin. And right now, in this economy, I've heard many of these countries with hyperinflation, like Iran, Turkey, they're as soon as they're getting paid, they're going to USDT, Tether. They're going like as soon as they get paid because they know their country's currency is like volatile, and so they go to the US dollar right away or stable coins. That's kind of what there's this.
And just on that, like think about Trump making USD1, right? And he also wants to have an impact globally, right? So you come with the USD1 like Trump-backed stable coin, and use that through WChain because WChain, is any to any, right? So of course USD1 is part of that, right? So you suddenly build a picture of what's gonna come.
Man, now you got me wanting to talk about the Trump connections. I know you.
Oh yeah, we need to. It's 33. It's the 33rd
Yeah, right.
episode, Lee.
Oh, he's the 33rd. Is he the 33rd president? I can't.
No, I don't think
No.
he was.
He's 45. He's 45.
Yeah, but it's the 33rd episode. We should keep it a bit
Never mind.
esoteric.
Yeah.
So
but,
Trump.
no.
I'll just say a couple of things like number one, Trump and Congo, of course. U.S. signed
you
Congo
called that
today.
a few months ago.
Yeah, I called it. Yeah.
I remember 6 months ago you were saying Trump's going to be with Elon in the Congo, and this is before even Trump was working with Elon.
Yep,
you know those.
Because
that
Elon needs the rare earth metals from the Congo.
Yeah.
For the Tesla car.
Yeah, the lithium mines.
Yes.
That's the new
cobalt,
new gold rush.
Mm-hmm.
Is not only is information, the new gold rush, but people's information. That's what all the spying's for. But it's also lithium and cobalt, and that's what they have trillions of dollars in.
Yes, literally trillions.
And
I think it was like the article I found. It was like $20 trillion. It's like an insane amount of resources they got there.
And they were, I can't remember what other crypto company you're saying is working in the Congo.
It's Trident, the Singaporean KYC company.
Yeah, that was interesting. But Anish was there for some reason to that podcast that got taken down. What's her name? Kelly on the block. What's her name? The on the block woman, the Vara lady. Did she conduct that interview with Anish that got taken down? I can't remember. Are we still connected? Hold on. Make sure. Trying to get Giga Chad back on here. Let's see. We have a little technical difficulty trying to get him back. Get back on here. I hope everybody's having a good Friday. Let's see. Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, man. So we just got a little disconnected there.
Yeah, just going back to the what was it? The Trump bit and Musk, and so that's one part, right? The Trump connection with like Africa, and then obviously the stablecoin USD1. And just generally stable coins and being the root for stable coins generally for the US economy. And WChain gives a lot to the likes of Trump and other world leaders, right? Because there's going to be more money in people's pockets from WChain. Ultimately, removing the frictions puts money in people's pockets. So Trump is really tied to WChain, I feel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and of course there was the gem connection, and it was I can't remember. It was one of the investors in Gem, the investors in the company. There was it was a bridge opening or something, and Trump and Gem Global, there was a connection there, and there's a bunch of smaller stuff that tie Wadzchain and WChain to Trump. Yeah,
and that Jim. So people know, Jim is the company. Sorry, my dogs are playing here. I gotta cut it out, guys. No, but so Jim committed $36 million when they IPO, and that's another 33. 36 is 3, 3, and 6, but so they're based in New York. NASDAQ, Wadzchain. If you Google Wadzchain New York, NASDAQ office pops up, and Bob from NASDAQ gave WCO, WTK a shout out, and these shits shout out.
Mm-hmm. And Wadzchain, both of them.
Yeah, and so he said he respects what he's doing. He knows he works hard in the space, and so I just believe it's all behind the scenes right now. What's going on, and that's one thing that you know about how the chain itself. It's these articles you send me. It's like wow, only WChain can do that.
Yes.
It's like all these new articles are coming out.
Yes, because they need a compliant payment system. That's one. Liquidity routing for payments. Giseki and Deverant are doing it in America With fiat, they're just routing fiat. I think you can pick 2 or 3 channels and they just route it to the cheapest channel, right? But with WChain, it's doing that for digital assets, right? So
Yeah.
you can pick USDC on like 20 chains. You can pick USDT on 20 chains. You can pick how many stable coins and how many wrap tokens. We're talking an insane amount, tens of thousands. Ultimately, where I think this is going, right? That's going to be routing that WChain will help route value through, right? So
Yeah.
it was going to start off small, right, as it should, and then build up, and it's just going to keep growing. More tokens, more routing. It's the only find me. I keep telling to people like find me a L1 that's doing what WChain's doing and trying to achieve in payments. And surprise, surprise, no one's told me anything yet. And I look myself. I'm trying to find this stuff, but can't. So really, now it's about trying to invalidate what WChain are like trying to do, because at the minute we're getting closer to the end state for WChain.
That's what it seems like, man.
Yeah.
And we were just joking earlier, saying there's always when the surfers find the big waves, there's a pullback in the ocean. So it's kind of like there's a pullback in this price, and then the wave starts happening. And it's the same thing that happens to lots of cryptos. There's always a bad dip before the pump.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened with XRP at the lawsuit at 17 cents, and just many, many, many cryptos. It's just how they work. And
Solo, Gala, there's a few, there's like,
Yeah.
This is not like we're making this up. It's like it's happened, it's like history, and we know history repeats itself, and there's no better example for history to repeat itself than with WChain, because it's so closely tied with like, the existing system and the people in that system, and we're just connecting the digital world, like the crypto world, to this existing world, and WChain's going to facilitate that.
Yeah.
And so there's no other, again, who else is doing? There isn't, so.
That's what GBT said as well. It's like there's no other chain doing what WChain's doing, or even set out to do. There's nothing that works like it. It's just one of a kind.
Dude, who's embedding reconciliations into the L1? No one cares about that stuff in the existing kind of crypto world. But for this to really go mainstream, you have to care about that stuff because of the accountants, because of record keeping, all the boring stuff. But WChain is tackling that stuff head on, and also kind of making it fun, because people are going to be paying with Dogecoin. People are going to be paying with USD1, right? So
yeah,
it's going to be fun too, and people are going to enjoy. I'm enjoy being in the ecosystem, like playing around with the pools and adding a bit of M17, whatever. It's fun.
Yeah.
And it's like it's fast. And if it was slow and it was clunky, I'd be like, Lee, it's WChain. We hyped it up, but look at the product, man. It's slow. It's rubbish. Hey, guess what? It's actually better than I thought it would be. So, and this is just like really, it's still kind of like beta. I don't think we're not in full mode yet, right? So it's still kind of beta-ish, but still live. I think when we see value routing through, it's going to be even quicker and slicker.
Yeah. I've been in the crypto space for 8 years, and I remember back in the day, these privacy coins. There was this one coin that ran up. It had like $500 turn into like 15 grand, but I wasn't able to sell because everybody's trying to sell at the same time. It was right when I started eventually like playing with cryptos, and this crypto was crap. Like the chain on it was crap. It just did not work at all. It just, so that's what sets this apart. There are lots of crap cryptos that have big promises, but they don't have any working products, and this is what sets this coin apart from lots of others. It's cheap, and we're actually using the DEX now. So it blows my mind that people are asleep to this. I mean, of course there are lots of people that are awake to it. Not lots, but there's a handful of us guys. Spartan, Steve, for sure. Doozer, you, and me. But it reminds me, with SHX, there was only a couple of us guys. I think 2 or 3. It was Wadzilla was in on it. He's not on X anymore, but it was Crypto Canvas and me. This is before Crypto Banker came out.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about SHX, but I found about SHX from my friend NYC OddApp. Dion's a really smart guy. He called Arc Block at 7 cents, went to $4 last year.
Yeah, I saw that one really take off. Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that one.
So he's a smart guy, and he's got experience in the finance world. So, but he doesn't even know about WCO. I lost contact. I'm so involved in the WChain community now. It's like we just know what this is, and it's kind of mind blowing. Like if you really do your research and just ignore the fear, and it's amazing. Like how everything's coming together news wise for the big announcement, like the big WChain announcement. So that's kind of what it could be any day now.
And it could, yeah. Every news that drops gets it that one bit closer. And I just want to shout out a bit again to the Winity, because I think what people need to understand is that like the WChain is behind Winity, right? And so when you swipe and say like I want to pay with Dodge, it takes that order, right? WChain takes that order, and eventually, right, it's gonna route to like everywhere. It's gonna route. It's in the routing system. It'll have like Binance, Uniswap, WSwap will be in there, of course, right? But WChain is kind of agnostic. WChain just wants to get the best route to for the user,
and so that's why they have AI integration in the routing.
Yes, so it's the core of it. It's the essence of what this product is. It's the essence of it.
Yeah.
And so it routes, and you might hit WSwap, and so that's good for WCO token, right? But it might not, because it's like a specific token only on Binance, for example, right? So it routes to there. And, WChain will still get fees from that because it's processing it. It settles on the chain, be it the L2 or the L1. And so for WCO overall, like, it's, it's not just because, it's not gone through WSwap, WCO has not benefited. No. As long as WChain is the back-end settlement layer, or it could be Winity, it could be for other cards, like, it could be, mainly other cards or whatever, right? Sorry, I lost my train of thought, but as long as it's the back-end settlement layer, WCO holders will still benefit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got there in the end.
You're talking about on the DEX itself, like that's what's going to happen. The rewards are going to come to people on the DEX. Is that what you're speaking about?
I'm speaking about like when an order's placed on Winity card or any other card, like a MasterCard. Like someone's making a payment through like their MasterCard, they're loaded it with Dodge or whatever, they're going to route it.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so WChain still settles it, but it doesn't matter where the DEX transaction takes place. It could be Uniswap, it could be WSwap, it could be Mexi. So in that transaction, you'll see, it was routed to Mexi to do this swap, and because it needed to settle in a stable coin, it did another swap on Uniswap because those were the cheapest routes to get to your end state.
Yeah.
So this is like next level stuff in terms of routing and settlement, and there's just no other company that's close to doing what's going on right now.
Yeah, I think you texted me articles about Algorand, Solana, they're all, and then what's the other one? Toncoin?
Tron. Ton blockchain, Telegram.
Yeah, so that's another like avenue that they're gonna delve into is like the Telegram payments,
P2P,
peer-to-peer payments. Yeah, so
Amit was speaking about that last year with JP Morgan. On the IFXO conference. Like there's a reason why. He's saying that he's signaling all these he's signaling to the world that hey, this is coming, and JP Morgan are they control 30 to 40% of payments globally. They're a huge payments company. If you look at JP Morgan, they're massive, and so that's a big signal that Amit was next to the JP Morgan guy. So
wow.
Yeah, there's a lot coming. I think there's a lot coming.
You said Amit Malik, the guy he works for Wadzchain. He's connected to JP Morgan, basically. And I remember a few years ago, JPM Coin, and when they tried, this is how much work it takes to create, to have your chain. It takes years and years to build it. And when JPM Coin was trying to compete with XRP a few years ago, they just abandoned it because might as well just use RippleNet, XRP. Even though it is a lot slower than it's enterprise grade as well, but it's slower than WChain.
Right. So okay. That's interesting.
It'll have its niche in the market for sure. especially when it starts facilitating all these products, the stable coin, the liquidity card.
It'll be any digital assets, so like deposit tokens, stable coins, meme coins, CBDCs, NFTs, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. WChain will facilitate that for compliant payments. RWAs, of course, right? Real estate. You want to pay, $5 for a coffee using your apartment token, because say you're on an apartment, it's worth $500,000, whatever. Okay, I'll take $5 of that $500K and pay for my coffee.
Yeah,
that's the end state. This is where we're heading. It's like round the corner.
Man, my mind's going 100. Thinking about everything right now. I remember Kara on the Block liked the WCO post. It was a WCO Vara post the other day, and she's tied in with the people from Davos.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And she just knows. I'm like, why would she repost the WCO connected to Vara post?
Yes, correct. So, that was
mind blowing. It's like, why that one? We could have said Doge is connected to Vara. She wouldn't have liked that.
and the funny thing is, right, the whole drama part of it was because the Vara license was gone, right? Oh, yeah, that's it. It's done for. But it looks like there's been a pivot by Vara and by WChain, because remember, UAE regulate dynamically. It's not like a set of rules. No, they just make the rules up as they go along. So maybe
another thing that people misunderstand about WChain leaving Vara is they decided to leave themselves. They can go back at any time. It's just they just didn't want to pay the few $1 million of fees right now.
I don't even think it was that, man. I think it was because they realized that WChain is decentralized, and so they didn't need to regulate it in the way they do the other centralized digital asset companies. But what appears to be on the case now is that they're pivoting to this kind of DEX regulation model, which is perfect because WChain is all about regulation and they're about DeFi.
And Vara just released their DEX, apparently.
They said they're doing a DEX pilot, right? And so
DEX pilot,
just after WChain released all the farm stuff, it's like, ooh,
right? It's like the day after,
it was insane, the timing of it. And so Wadzchain, WChain are all about regulators, compliance, but they're also about DeFi, and so it seems like a match made in heaven from where I see it. Let's see though.
Yeah, so that's what blows my mind is the timing of all these things that seemingly could be running on WChain. They're coming out like the day after the farm gets, and the DEX is released. It's like they're telling you but not telling you. So that's kind of, as a speculator. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I just find it all interesting, and I like talking about it with you. But what's really going on here.
There's a lot to unpack with WChain. We could speak for absolutely hours about it because there's so many areas you can touch and cover and explore, and even then you can go into speculating a bit more, what's it going to be. So there's all this. So wherever you feel wherever you want to take it,
dude. So I think I talked about this last podcast, but what drew me to WCO is I've been successful accumulating the fear on assets. In this crypto space. And what's another thing that's weird that I find interesting is when you ask ChatGPT, what would be your shakeout strategy? How would you shake out a community knowing you have big capital lined up to invest at the lows? And ChatGPT mentioned setting up some type of premium account to reward the early holders so they come back and buy the tops in this coin. So it's that's why they set up. They said you want to reward your original investors, so that's why they set up premium accounts for WTK holders. It's like they're almost a lot of businesses follow ChatGPT strategies. So I wonder if they just follow GPT strategy with this the shakeout that's going on.
Yeah, if they knew this was kind of coming, that they had to kind of shake people out. Sure, you're gonna seek advice from all angles, right? It makes sense, and it will. You're right. They have reward, and it's funny. They're right. Old holders have been rewarded, as I mentioned earlier, right, with the farming and the rewards. So it's kind of going to plan. And so, why did they do that in the first place? It's because they know something big's coming. They have to shake people out because something big's coming. You don't shake people out for the sake of it, unless you're a scammer or right.
And that's another thing that I find interesting. Sorry, man. But another thing I find interesting is all these people on X calling Anisha a scammer, oh, he needs to, he needs to be investigated, blah blah. But there's not one lawsuit. If you Google this,
Yeah.
company, there's not one lawsuit going on with this company at all.
And when there was a lawsuit, they won because it was a Singaporean news agency that was saying bad stuff about Wadzchain. Wadzchain took them to court, and they won.
That was years ago. Yeah.
And they won. Yeah,
fraud allegations.
Yeah, and it's funny, like you said, even if there is one, they still won it because So this is it's been made out on specifically on X for some reason. X, you can't find food outside of X for WChain and Wadzchain. It's very hard. Maybe a bit on LinkedIn, one or two, but it's like, if you didn't know about X, you'd think like, wow, this is positive, this is good, but X is, it brings out maybe the worst in people. There's so much energy around WCO that the people thinking negative about WChain are very angry and very passionate about their anger.
I mean, because most investors are down. Obviously, I mean, if you've been in this company for at least 1 to 2 years and you bought, of course you're down. That's obvious. You'll be down in your investment.
Yes,
but, I've been down 99% in crypto several times, and then they just go back up to their, when in doubt, zoom out in the chart. They go back up to those prices eventually, especially if the company's building and growing like we see now. The two new recent hires the past few weeks. There's some Web3 guys. I think you texted me that a while back.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty new. They've had the same.
Yeah, there's some more people coming, right? Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah, there's more people coming, and like I said, they're going to grow, right? The system, the ecosystem's going to grow. The community will grow. Everything will expand from here. It looks like, right? Because it looks like we're on the precipice. U.S. regulations are perfect at the minute, right? And it's a perfect time for WChain to really come out into the open in a regulated way.
I wonder if these delays with like the premium accounts are just because they're waiting on some regulations to happen, and that's probably why they've been delaying in the first place. It's just
they got to follow the US, because US regulations is like number one globally, right? If whatever the US are doing. But funny enough, UAE have been helping US write digital asset laws, so that's really fascinating. And Algorand, who are very close partners with Wadzchain for many years, they're now setting crypto policy. Dude, this is like perfect news, right? And it's all this news. There's so much to cover because it's
so there's a thing in the UAE called, speaking of 33s, Agenda 33, and that is to 10x their economy using like the blockchain space by the year 2000. I don't know. It's within the next 10 years, something like that. It's the name of it's Agenda 33 or something like that. And have you heard of that? The Vara thing, that's the whole point of Vara, to attract blockchain companies to Dubai, and also don't forget Wadzchain has an office in Dubai, and some top, these old guys with all this finance experience. Sorry, we lost them here. It's just I'm enjoying talking, man. Got it. Let's just try to get him back here. I guess I can invite you to co-host. But I hope everybody's having an amazing Friday. It's, of course, the WChain's always on my mind, and it's just seeing all this news that comes out daily. It's really, really fascinating. I'm just expecting to get him back here. Let's see if I can get him back. There we go. Yeah, no, you're good, man. I'm surprised. Yeah.
All these agendas by the Middle East, and you're right, it's about like Vara helping the UAE to, have a global presence for the value that's going to be flowing through mainly UAE, I think. If you think about UAE's agenda with Africa and, helping Africa grow, it's going to be coming through UAE, Dubai, and Saudi Arabia. The Middle Eastern countries, they've got, big ambitions, and so the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they're really going to have an expansion, and WChain will help that. Look what's going on in Saudi Arabia and the Hajj program. It's not released yet, fine. Maybe next year, once WChain has really been used for a good year, then it's ready to, be released in Hajj. But they have ambitions for this really to ultimately, But people come from all over the world to Saudi Arabia and just pay with whatever they've got.
Yeah, I apologize. My dogs are playing.
So, yeah, Wadzchain WCO is so intricately tied to Middle Eastern policy. It's like it's an economic tool for them to grow.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just looking at LinkedIn yesterday, and they have the Hajj post. They posted it about a month ago, like about the Hajj pilgrimage.
Mm.
And I think that's where the Winity cards, they're going to be using that because they have how many people travel to Mecca? It's
30 odd million
people.
They say 30
million.
Odd, yeah, big numbers.
Yeah, so they pay with right now. They use some kind of prepaid card to pay for things there, and it's all going to be. That's why Wchain's involved with it now. They want to be those people to. And also, they have the connections to the Middle East, like you say.
Yeah, so like USA, UAE are so like well bonded from a crypto perspective. Right? There was a lot of news beginning of the year about USA, UAE
the alliance,
investing in US, the big alliance. Yeah, so Wchain sits perfectly in the middle between the two.
Yeah,
it's like it's a beautiful thing actually. Like it's to see this play out and to follow the news and into a point of Wchain basically assisting USA and UAE in their ambitions globally.
Exactly. And we already know that the US, I mean, they didn't, Dubai, I thought the Sheikh of Dubai tried giving Trump a huge plane, a gift, so
man,
we know they're good. And also, when Iran launched nuke, they launched some missiles to Qatar. It was a failed attack.
Mm.
It's all a show, man.
Yeah, just on that, Lee. Just on that, I think what's going on is that all these agendas that UAE, US, Saudi have, it's not going to work out if the Middle East is unstable. And so Trump's coming in, brings stability, and then in 5, 6, 7 years, people probably have forgotten that there was a war in the Middle East. Probably, right? I don't know. This is just my theory. Like, I think they need peace, and so Trump's coming in, bring peace, make the deals. And then, a few years down the line, people forget, but there's this like ecosystem, and Wchain's powering it all.
That's right. That's the thing. Wchain's powering pretty much all this news that's coming. I mean, it's all happening in real time too. Just the past few weeks.
Mm.
That's what I find the most interesting.
Blakey, how you doing, mate? We got Blakey on the line.
Oh, hey, what's up, Blakey? Man, good. I love all your posts, man. In the WCO chat. We're just here talking Wchain, man.
And, much respect, Blakey, man. Good to hear you. Good to see you at least on the chat.
He's also a very experienced investor. Like I consider myself experienced in the space now, being in for 8 years and watching low caps and these different traits of low caps. So it's important to watch what the company's doing. And this company's obviously growing and hiring, but the price is crashing. So I've seen it before several times.
Yeah,
and these are the ones that do the 30x, 100x.
Out of nowhere, so it's going to be boom.
It's quick. It's going to happen quick, and I'm not going to be surprised one bit.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish be wishing I had bought more. So that's
100%.
And so that's, man. Some of these messages you send me are just fascinating. I'm just trying to go back through them, like what GPT says about this new farm. Like the DEX itself is it's like there's nothing else like it.
I think they're gonna. Remember, Lee, we're only on version 2 of WSwap. Version 3 hasn't come out yet. There's going to be, we're told, advanced liquidity tools. There's going to be new features. Let's see what they've got in store. This is exciting stuff. So I'm happy that the community's been getting rewarded, and I think it's a matter of time now before we really start to see some significant movement. And when Winity pops, it seems like August time, in line with like Hong Kong regulation, which makes sense. So I think it is this kind of like stablecoin summer, crypto summer, and Wchain might come there in the August, kind of towards the end of that summer, as really like, wow, look what this is. This is what I'm hoping also, right? As an investor.
Yeah. man, I just want to read that GBT post you sent me. So it said, bottom line, no other major public blockchain offers an L1 native standardized refund mechanism, dynamic fee control, and real-time clearing streams the way WChain does. On Ethereum, Solana, BNB chain, etc., you must build, deploy, and maintain each of those pieces yourself in smart contracts, whereas WChain bakes them into a settlement layer itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that fascinating.
Yeah,
you texted that earlier. Yeah.
Dude, I forgot about the refund feature, right? I always forget that one, but it's so important because how are you going to do refund on blockchain if your Ethereum or Solana, it's just not going to work, you know? So, like, a blockchain, public blockchain that's dedicated to payments, that has inbuilt refund logic. I mean, this is a dream for any merchant acquirer. Oh, brilliant. I don't have to worry about refunds on blockchain, but I still get all the benefits of blockchain, right? Of cheap reconciliation done automatically. I don't have to worry about back-end stuff. It's all taken care of. But, you know, the payment happens and my customer's happy. Brilliant.
Yeah, so I know one other chain that has a refund feature, but they're not enterprise grade, and that's XLM. So and it's actually a mirror company. It's the same chain as XRP, but they don't have the enterprise grade KYC compliance like XRP does.
Interesting.
So
okay.
So I found that interesting because like we know XLMs and the multiple billions, the market cap. And,
okay, just on that, Lee, you're talking about revolutions in technology. The reason why I started to make links between, or like saw links between like Musk and Musk and Wadzchain was because of encoding technology. Wadzchain did a post about encoding back in 2022 or something, or 2020, early 2023, like that. And Musk randomly started tweeting about it, like there's some new tech encoding, and I was like, why are Wadzchain talking about? And I looked for encoding, only Wadzchain were talking about it, and then Musk was tweeting about it. I was like, So there's definite like evolutions, what's it called, like pioneering technology in WChain.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing about XRP doesn't have a refund feature, so it's so that's what's needed, you know.
It's needed 100% to go fully on chain. Payments on chain need refunds because sure, man, you know, I take some shirt I don't like, I take it back. Oh, sorry, we can't give you your Dogecoin back, but WChain will allow that. I paid in Dogecoin. The next day I go back, I'm bringing back my product. Okay, there's your Dogecoin back. Fine. That's coming.
Yeah. I'm just reading more of these GBT posts you texted. This one that says, yes, WChain can slot directly into the MasterCard Chainlink Zero Hash model as the on-chain settlement layer. It replaces the Ethereum Uniswap leg with higher performance compliance first rails.
Mm-hmm.
So it does it at sub-cent fees and sub-second finality. I mean, a lot of this might be Greek, but it's basically it's a cheap, fast way solution for all of these payment companies, or that want to, so they're basically saying that they're going to be needing WChain to be efficient. Basically, it's kind of how I see it.
If they don't adopt this new way of settling and routing digital assets, they're going to get left behind. So they have to take part, and that's why do you think Wadzchain linked to so many companies? Because they've got the secret sauce. They've got it.
Yeah.
Why are they linked with Network International? Why are they going to the DIFC Best in Banking 2024 event? Like, there's a reason why they're doing all this stuff, because they've got something special, unique, and it's coming to fruition. We're so close now. The price looks like it's so far away, but actually we're so close. And
I heard the Uniswap. They already have the Uniswap wallet set up for WChain, but they haven't. It's not on there yet, and that's what this post here is about. It said even if the user's tokens lives only on Uniswap, WChain can still settle the payment by treating the Uniswap swap as atomic leg of cross-chain workflow. Basically, it's a central switch for any token, any chain, while preserving the sub-second finality compliance auditing. It's just all that's what's fascinating to me. It's like GBT probably wouldn't say that about any other crypto. It's like saying it's a central switch, for all these, other chains. So really interesting to me. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just there's a lot of information to cover here, and we could talk for hours and hours about this interesting asset. And are we still connected? Oh, there we go. Let's see if it's still connected. We're having some kind of connection issues. The Matrix doesn't want us talking about this about this company because there's this fear campaign has the sentiment down so much. Yeah, I can hear you perfect, man. Yeah, you're back. Welcome back.
Then I locked it out. So it's interesting what you were saying though. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying, man. I'm just hanging out, just after it's a rainy afternoon here, just enjoying, hearing what the knowledge that you have to share.
Yeah, man, and there's a lot of it. The routing's really important, and just need to. We need to see like just concrete little steps now, right? It's going to be these little incremental steps. For example, get Solana on the bridge, and then Wildcoin can come onto WChain. Little things like that, and it's proven that we can interact with Solana seamlessly, and we can settle on there and all this kind of stuff, because that's like a signal for a bigger thing that's to come. So we've got to get these little things in first, and then suddenly it'll become very powerful very quickly.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm expecting, given the chart right now too, because the Bollinger Bands are so tight. And another thing about the 3-3, when you draw the fib down, the very bottom fib is 330033. I'm not lying, dude. It's just
you gotta get a screenshot of that one. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so that's just the Fibonacci itself. And was it Carl Jung? He's a famous numerologist. He would say that the universe speaks in 33s, and then Tesla said if you understand the 3, 6, and the 9. Nikola Tesla said that you'll understand the universe. I'm definitely open-minded with all this stuff, and I've been seeing a lot of 33s. I think I text you every day, dude. I saw these 33s about WChain today.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what?
I don't ignore it, man.
To add to that, I would say that I'm open to the price going down to 33, because I think they might do that before we really take off. I'm open to it, because
I think it already hit it. It wicked down earlier, about a month ago.
Oh, did it?
It went
I
down
thought it hit 36.
It went to
it went to 33.
I saw on CoinGecko it went to 25.
Bitmart and stuff. Yeah, I'm thinking about Bitrue, but yeah, you're right. I think Bitmart did.
That's when that massive when the massive sell-off happened.
Swick down there, yeah. I think maybe just to pivot a little bit. I think while we're touching on the exchanges, Bitrue, Mexi, Bitmart, all strategic exchanges for WChain, because Bitmart is part of the global dollar network, which is it's going to help route US dollar stablecoins, and so Mastercard's in there, Bitmart's in there. I think Solana's in there now. The big players are in there. So WChain have a perfect setting with Bitmart for that. And then you take Mexi. Mexi have a beautiful relationship with Telegram. And Mexi running a node, they've got with WChain, they've got perfect into BTP Telegram. These are strategic alignments going on, right? And then of course our favorite exchange of all, Bitrue, right? The infamous Bitrue.
Yeah.
With so much history of Wadzchain, but they also gonna help, I believe, right? WChain connecting with XRP and XTC and certain.
They had the pair ready to go. Remember that about a month ago?
Yes.
The pair was ready to go, and then they decided not to do it yet. Probably a news texted them saying, "Hey, not yet, guys."
Yeah, not yet.
So that's kind of what. So they had the post ready to go, and it was
They posted it and everything, but then it was like the powers that be said no. We gotta play some games, or just whatever it might be. But yeah, so these exchanges, WChain have aligned with them for a reason, right? But what will happen is that these three are enough to really take off, right? But what will happen very quickly is that Binance will suddenly come in, right? And I heard that once WSwap is kind of it's running around doing its thing, BNB chain, PancakeSwap and Uniswap will be embedded, into the ecosystem, right? So
yeah,
a lot to unpack, and lots been said, but yeah, I think there's a lot coming on the exchanges side, and what the exchanges bring. So like Kaya Network, who run the blockchain that connect to Asia's biggest P2P, which is Line, right? So if you're in Asia, you use Line.
That's right.
So the Kaya Network. So the Kaya Network, yeah. So there's all this to come, and kind of globally, not just in US, not just in UAE, but Asia. There's a lot of people there. There's going to be a lot of routing going on over there, so it's going to be a big market.
Yeah, that's like a lot of these. You said Bitmart and Mexi. I think is it Mexi based in Singapore, or no? It's
Bitrue, Singapore.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're. I have a friend in Singapore. He says crypto's tax free over there, so that could be another reason why they're there. And also, Wadzchain is a publicly traded company in Singapore.
It's private, but it's listed in Singapore.
It's private. I mean, it's a traded company. Yeah, it's private.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think just touching on that, I always wondered why Singapore, but Singapore is a great gateway into China, and that's what we know. Wow. Anish spent time in China, and so it's a good entry point. And so Singapore, started off. I mean, there, and then they started to go west, right? So they opened in Dubai and stuff. So the core is Asia for sure.
Yeah. Man, so we've covered a lot here. It's just all very interesting stuff. And I feel like we just covered like the tip of the iceberg, though. We're gonna have to do some more podcasts in the future, man. And I don't know how long this has been. How long?
We've been going about an hour. I'm good for now. If you're good, I mean, I could do a bit more.
I just want to make. We could go a little bit more, but I don't want to make it too long. People won't listen to it, But
another 10. Let's do another 10.
That's fine. Yeah.
Wherever you want to take it to wrap it up.
Yeah, man. We're just hanging out. If you want to talk WCO, more than welcome to, man. And so what drew me here is like I've been successful buying the fear on cryptos. I've seen this before with 3 other cryptos I've invested in the exact same. I've actually written one down worse than this one. So it was, but it's gonna bounce back up because it's seeing the company grow and release the DEX, and all this takes billions of dollars and lots of work. You have to have these networks audited and tested, and government complying with the governments, and so there's a lot going on here that people don't realize. And
the amazing thing really is like how well they've hidden it, even though they've been in the public eye. They've been on LinkedIn posts. There's been media stories covering big events like tokenizing in the Congo or Hajj pilgrimage or FinFET, whatever, right? But it's still super low key. It's quite a skill to remain really hidden in a very
it's a very new space. It's like the crypto Wild West, like you said, man. And it's funny how we connected because you're very news based and like follow this company closely, what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no, that doesn't make sense. And I'm more of like objective. I see this as like any other crypto. I'm like, wow, let's just chase this fear campaign is crazy. Like nobody believes it in it anymore. But look what the company's doing. It's all very bullish stuff. So that's what has me excited. It's like because they can they will. What I theorize is going to happen when this thing pumps. They're probably going to put in $500 million or $1 billion, pump this thing to astronomical heights like overnight, and then the community is going to be back in to buy the tops.
Yeah, Lee, you know what? Just on that, right? If you think about UAE made a deal with Trump and gave him $2 billion worth of USD1, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's think about WChain as a tool. What did I say before? UAE is WChain is a tool for UAE. Now, you don't think they're going to put 2B into WChain, lose some loose change? You don't think they're going to put that in there? You don't think they're going to be like a big liquidity provider into WChain? UAE have a massive incentive as a nation to be a big liquidity provider because they're going to be routing transactions to Ghana. They're going to be routing it to Gabon, to Nigeria. UAE needs WChain, so it's going to be a big liquidity provider. So we're talking think about national liquidity going through WChain. What value do you give WCO at that point?
Exactly.
No. What do you think? Because if you think about Ethereum, right? It's not.
Yeah, just at the
Ethereum
start.
isn't like a tool for nations to root value. That's not what it's doing. It's doing certain things, but WChain is going to take
Yeah,
it to the next level. And so I'm just speculating here. Of course, this is just like my thinking, but I do see a scenario where WChain is in the hundreds of billions of dollars market cap. WCO.
that makes sense because XRP's done it.
Yeah,
You know,
100%. Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah.
and they don't even have the refund feature. They're enterprise grade, just like WChain, but they don't have the refund feature like WChain has.
Correct.
So they have this. It's got a little more bells and whistles on this chain than XRP, and
Yeah.
it's so cool that we're able to share this information with people too, because we just keep it to ourselves. Like we're all excited, and like most of the community is like, man, this coin sucks.
Yeah, there needs to be a bit more hope for sure. Like it would be good to see the wayfinders do an AMA themselves, right? Instead of relying on the team, because I get it, man. The team's busy. The wayfinders should just do like an impromptu AMA. Just like let people hear about WChain and WCO.
And there's a reason Anish doesn't want to speak about this thing at the lows. You just can't do that. You don't want capital coming in at the lows yet.
No.
So that's why it's been a text-based AMA the past 2 times, because people, when they hear the guy's voice and they hear how bullish it is, the price is just going to move up. Even if you look at the pools, I think it's just the community's money in there, because the guy has millions and millions of dollars, obviously.
Yeah. And
he could throw into the LP if he wanted to and increase the TVL. But he doesn't want to do that yet. I mean, he just buys a Ferrari for fun, $500,000 Ferrari. It's like, why wouldn't you throw $100,000 in the TVL? I don't want to do that yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's kind of, there's just too many questions. Like, if this is your moneymaker, like, wouldn't you want to, try to get some hype around it?
As we discussed, though, Lee, like, it has to stay hidden for a while. It's not ready to
That's
be.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. It does.
And that's the trick that people. It's hard for people to understand that, I think.
Yeah.
But I think that's the reality of the situation.
But what's cool, there are more people bullish on this coin than I was back in the day with SHX. So that's like Blakey's bullish. He's a very intelligent investor. I know he's, and Spartan Steve, Doozer, and everybody, man, Davey, it's a bunch of people. So there's probably at least 10 or 20 of us that see what this thing is. But it went from 10,000 to 10 or 20. Never 10,000 holders with WTK.
Yep.
So
I think there's 60. When I looked, there was like 66, 67 holders of Wave, right? So if you think about 100 group, some people can't participate because it is a bit complex as well. I think like part of it is that the tech is a bit complicated still, but you want people coming in like a product manager to demonstrate to people, like doing YouTube videos. I think maybe that's what this is missing in the community. It's like one of the wayfinders say, guys, I'm just doing a video to help people to like buy Wave, because sometimes some people might not fully understand that. They can understand buy and hold WCO, but their skill set is in something else, but they don't understand this technical thing. So I think the wayfinders could do more.
Yeah, but it's just all strategic. We've already speculated on that. We believe a lot of them are insiders.
Yeah,
no offense to anybody.
It would make sense, a project this kind of exciting and it's got so much potential that there are people guiding it. Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm excited for Wave Token as well, because there's only a 200,000 supply, and it reminds me of SFIN. SFIN was, when it came out for Songbird, it's just like Songbird's Wave, Songbird's version of Wave, and that thing was $100,000 when it debuted, and this thing's like only cost 6 WCO or something like that, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember. It's really cheap.
It's these are still tiny amounts. Yeah,
really so we're very early, and given the low supply, and that's going to be the incentive reward, kind of like when you used to use the Songbird decks on. It was Flare Finance. That's where the Songbird decks, but you could get your rewards in SFIN, similar to what's going on with Wave. And yeah, man, it's just all really interesting stuff here. And
yeah, I think it's been our 10, Lee. I think like you're right. If we could sell it there, end it there, and then let people digest what's been spoken to.
Yeah, man.
Because that was 10. It went really fast, right? So it's like...
Wow. We just enjoy talking, man. So I just wanted to say thanks for everybody listening. We'll do another one soon in a few days, hopefully. And,
I think
some more details. This is just impromptu. We just decided to talk WChain. We didn't have any structure on this one.
Yeah, that's it.
Touch on
I just want to shout out to Blakey again, top man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the whole community.
He's still there, yeah. Shout out to the community. You know, we're on the cusp now. We're super close.
That's what I believe too, man. Well, y'all have a good night, a good day.
Cheers, Lee. Have a good one.
All right, bro. Take it easy.